I don't think I'm ever going to get tired of that intro.
I don't think I will either. And you know what? We're going to be getting into our second semifinals here of the TorCraft 2014 Season 1 finals here at Anime Now 2014.
A lot of 2014s in that sentence, Doug.
Oh, God. Yeah, we've got a great crowd out here tonight.
Yeah,
Shout-outs to them.
It's filling up. Give you guys a round of applause out there, because even though we can't really see you past these lights, we know you're out there. We know you're
there.
And we love you, just like you should love yourself. There you go.
Yeah.
They're going to figure it out right now.
Yeah.
As you said, MaSa up against NuBrGNi here, our second of the semifinals. The game is going to be loading up, and we do have a little bit of information, because this is the finals of the top 8. You know, these guys all played for 5 months doing the TorCraft Cups. Yeah. They all won money at every single cup.
Yeah.
But now they're going to go home for a chance at basically double the current prizes that they're able to do at every other cup. So what would first place go home with today, Mr. Doug?
Well, first place is going home with $240, second with $120, and third with $40. If you're used to the TorCraft traditions, well, that is exactly double of what we normally hand out at the monthly cups.
And I mean, I got to say, like, the support of a lot of our followers, a lot of our, Twitter stalkers, instead of followers, they just kind of stalk Drekken every now and then. But also our subscribers out there on Eschamp TV. A lot of your support goes into, the love that our producers and our production team put together in order to make this happen. And here we are at the first finals of our first event. So, as you can see, we just saw ROOT.MaSa up there in the top right. Bottom right, however.
Oh, well, that's not quite the bottom.
All right, fine. Let's go back to MaSa. It's all good.
We have our blue Terran representing Root Gaming. He is the Terror of Toronto. It is MaSa!
You were so close to my nickname. But we love you anyways, Mr. Duck. In the bottom corner, I think this is the first time we've actually seen him in a top 4 situation.
Yeah.
Or maybe the second, but the red Zerg, NuBrGNi. Give him a round of applause there, guys, because we can't see him, and I know you're out there because I can hear you. But the first time I saw NuBrGNi, I was just like, how do I even say that? And they're like, it's like a Lamborghini for noobs. And it's just like, that is how I'm always going to remember that.
Yep. All right, so, this is a TVZ. We don't see very many TVZs unless MaSa is playing, which is basically every finals here.
Do we even have another Terran?
We do not. MaSa has always been the only Terran in the top 8 of TorCrafts, with the exception of Blarg, but Blarg was random, so he rolled Terran for 1 map.
That's right. We did have a random at our last TorCraft, and he was Terran for a map. That was actually very exciting, because instead of having 7 Zerg in that finals, we actually had the 1 random 6, and then, of course, MaSa. Now, if you don't know anything about MaSa themselves, then you're going to be in for a treat, because MaSa is probably the most solid Terran player that I've ever seen come out of Toronto.
Definitely. He has extremely good mechanics. He's very good on his reads. He almost always knows exactly what to do versus you, and especially here in the local scene in Toronto, he's always just been winning everything. He's been taking all of our money, just all the time.
We're actually going to be seeing a little bit more of a mix-up in terms. I was about to go into how MaSa loves to go into Reapers. He'll get himself a barracks, or he'll proxy at Reapers. He'll just do little hit and runs, get a drone here, get a few Zerglings there, regen, rinse, repeat, and those little incremental advantages in the early game is what usually propels him very solidly into a mid-game. But instead, because we are, of course, on Frost into 4-player map mentality, he's actually going to go for an expansion first.
Yep. Previously on Frost, he tends to go for these command center firsts. Right now, he has thrown down his barracks here. No refinery quite yet, so probably just going to be going for some kind of marine timing. Double barracks, so definitely just going to be throwing out those marines. Probably going to be getting his refineries a bit later on in the game.
Well, the first scout here will actually strike gold. NuBrGNi has now been spotted. Does see the hatch out there as well. And the timing of that hatch should probably tell him that it went down first. Yeah. Because it actually did. He didn't actually see the spawning pool, but again, you can probably assume at this point. Will this be a bunker? Does not look like it. He's just going to run all the way back home.
A bunker at his own base? Probably. At his opponent's base? Not happening, because
we don't have the Reapers.
Yeah, there's no units over there to get into the bunker and actually use it. So
it's another one of those patterns I've just kind of associated with MaSa. Early scout, all right, it's going to be a bunker. But as you see, That's not even going to be a wall either, so he's really confident that there's not going to be any kind of aggression coming out of NuBrGNi.
Yep, right now, looks like NuBrGNi, he's just trying to scout around, trying to find the map, try to find his opponent on the map, I should say.
No, where'd the map go? I don't know what map I'm on. Oh, dear.
So right now, he's just getting single Zerglings going around at a time to look around, see what they, try to find whatever they can. At the moment, MaSa, he's gotten his second refinery already up here. Double barracks is down. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a tech lab go down on one of the barracks, get stim rolling already, or get combat shield rolling already. Factory going to be on the way, and probably going to be, if he does use the factory, maybe a couple Widow Mines, maybe some Hellions, but then afterwards he'll definitely switch it out for a starport.
Yep, going for a 1-1-1 is definitely one way to go. Not a lot of the early Zerg can actually, well, all right, fine, the 2-1-1 be that way. Not a lot of the Zerg there can actually shoot up early game, except the Queens, and even then, you get yourself a Banshee or two, and you're going to have some fun times. In fact, there's just going to be a little bit of damage there on top of that Overlord, so it's going to be a little bit of a thorn in NuBrGNi's side. But he's going to go for a third on the back of this, so NuBrGNi is, yeah, again, not a lot of big aggression, which is the correct read, but I'm a little afraid because if you don't do anything to MaSa here early game and he just sets up for that early solid mid game,
yeah,
then like you could be in some trouble.
Yeah, right now we do see the factory going to be getting a couple Hellions out right now. Some Marines and an SCV going to be heading across the map, probably going to be joined up with the Hellions later on. There are a couple Queens already out, going to be getting that Sayo Zerg wall set up with the Evolution Chambers and the Roach Warren right now. A lot of Creep Tubers already out here, but NuBrGNi, that is kind of part of what he does. He has relatively good creep spread, whereas he kind of sacrifices a bit of his early army for that creep spread, and it's not going to work too well for him, as we do have a bunker going down.
You can't see it.
Yeah.
So again, that's what I kind of typically associate here with MaSa. So not only will we have the Marines, he has a few Hellions out there as well. Not really a lot of Zerglings to munch on here. We do got a few Roaches actually at the front. And the Queen's actually coming off creep as well. But if we can buy enough time for this bunker to actually finish up, that's going to be, again, a big thorn in the side here, NuBrGNi.
One Hellion going to be going down to 3 Marines are going to be able to get in. The SCV just going to try and distract them. 2 more Hellions going to be joining in here. And that bunker, if it doesn't go down soon, it's going to be a real big pain in the neck there for NuBrGNi.
Oh, look at the harass.
Pardon?
Look at the harass. It's just amazing at this point.
Right now, those Roaches, they're just going to be trying to get in and whenever they can, poke at the bunker. The Hellions are slowly drifting away, and that allows the Roaches to get in here. Those Queens and Roaches going to target down that bunker. The bunker's going to go down, but the Hellions are now given passage into the natural and kill a lot of drones.
These drones. Those are the bravest drones I've ever seen.
Oh, there comes another Queen.
It's a really nice wall there at the back, though. So, I mean, MaSa had a good idea of trying to go in, just get some scouting information, possibly get a few more drones on top of that, but unfortunately not going to be happening. So instead, we got, we saw a starport there, but I don't see actually any Banshees.
Yeah, there are no Banshees right now. It's just a reactor. Is there even an add-on on the starport? I don't think there is, no.
Not at all.
So, yeah, NuBrGNi, he's just basically seeing everything right now. Stim is going to be finishing up soon, however. Marines and Marauders are streaming across the map. They are not seeing Hellbats even to join the fray here. And I believe there was a recent balance patch that did come out for Hellbats.
I was going to say, I don't think I've ever seen MaSa get Hellbats ever. And I mean that, like, ever.
The last
We've
time
done 5 months of MaSa. I've never seen Hellbats.
The last time I saw Hellbats as large of a number that was above 2 would happen to be last August back at the land that we ran.
Well, I got to say, they're doing work up against these Roaches. The Marines in the back, the Hellbats tanking up in the front. They're going to be putting the pain on at this expansion there for NuBrGNi. Has to be very... he thought maybe Banshees were going to be coming out. Oh,
yeah.
What a silly spore crawler.
Yep, right now, 34 drones to 52 SCVs. The Hellbats will finally get cleaned up, but NuBrGNi took a lot of damage there, Gesture, and 1-1 on the way, as well as combat shields. MaSa is looking very good in this match right now. He's even going to be getting some tanks, a very good choice. And Zerglings and Roaches are going to be heading across the map, but there's already a pretty sizable bioforce ready for it.
Yeah, if you can contain him there at that choke, might have a better shot of just defending. But something I need to point out is even though we're on 3 bases here of NuBrGNi, you were correct to call out that the worker count is much lower here for the Zerg. He's had to force a lot of larvae into those combat units. And in fact, I mean, at one point, MaSa was even doubling the mineral income
Yeah.
of NuBrGNi. And again, like 2 base up against the 3, you might not guess that, but a lot of SCVs on the field here for MaSa, as well as those mules. So that's how he's able to start getting, you know, a lot of production going. You can see the production tab there. It's just always going to be full. There's a lot of tech going on. There's a lot of production of units going on, and this is the scary part of MaSa, because here into the mid game with this production, he can rival Zergs on just the sheer number of stuff he makes.
And now those Zerglings and Banelings, they're going to be coming in. The nice pickup on the Marauders and Marines, not really going to be able to get those Baneling connections he needs. And, you know, the Banelings, they can only do so much versus the Marauders. MaSa doing a good job at keeping those Marauders right in front of the Banelings, so that way the Marauders can just tank all of the damage there. 1-1 going to be finishing up here. There is a tank already ready at the 3rd, and it can cover the natural ramp as well. We'll drop down a couple Marines just to soak up those Banelings, not really losing too much. And right now, those Zerglings, they're going to be trying to go straight into the natural, but there's bio ready for them.
Poor Backwater Bob got absolutely destroyed by those Zerglings. Yeah, you know, a lot of free kills going down here for MaSa as he spreads out the force. As he said, he was able to drop on top of those Banelings, and they just blew themselves up into oblivion. A really good trade out there for MaSa. But again, more upgrades coming his way, more Marines, Marauders. There's a lot more dropships going to be in the mix. He's adding on 2 more bunkers on top of this as well. And he's really getting a nice fortified 3rd position here. And now, I mean, this is where NuBrGNi has to kind of go take that 4th, because he always wants to try to stay another hatch ahead of MaSa.
Yep, right now it looks like NuBrGNi going to be getting up some Mulisks to add to a Zergling Baneling right now. And, you know, similar to Kings of the North, in the very opening day, Jig played MaSa, and he kind of stuck on Zergling Baneling for a long while. And it killed his drones pretty hard, and I feel like that was kind of what was happening till now. The Mule is now finally out, so we'll be able to deal with drops a lot more efficiently. But MaSa still has those tiny armies that he splits up and then just kills whatever he can, and slowly it adds up.
Oh, these Zerglings are just trying to get ahead of the pack here. They're going to go for the kill, but of course, you know, can't shoot up. Those dropships should be able to get away out of that one, but here comes the Mutas. They're going to run into a few tanks here. The Zerglings in the front, they're soaking up quite a bit, but the dropships, again, just being a very integral role in keeping it alive, the bio at this point. Zerglings are going to get cleared, but not entirely too sure we have a complete answer for these Mutas.
Yeah, a lot of Mulisks still alive. It's mainly just Marauders and tanks nor Marauders do shoot up, so MaSa going to be able to finally push them away as some Marine reinforcements come out. At the 3rd, bunch of mules getting thrown down as well as a turret.
That command center was actually in the yellow. I didn't even see what attacked it, but I guess it was more Mutas.
Probably the glaive worms from the Mulisks just bouncing off units, getting
a heck of a lot of damage out of those glaive worms, but you know, c'est la vie. Now I mean, MaSa knows that there's Mutas out there. He's going to have to deal with them. We got a lot of Zerglings on the field. We got 10 Banelings in production here as well. And upgrades. Yeah. Oh, those are probably not the best of spots there for the Banes. A lot of free pickoffs right there.
2-2 is going to be finishing up here for MaSa, and that's really just putting him so far ahead. NuBrGNi very far behind in upgrades right now, just down. Getting +1 flyer attacks. Ooh. And right now, though, MaSa doesn't have quite the large army. His forces are in little bits. Yeah. That's what he normally does, and it's not so
Split
great.
Focus.
Yeah, it's not so great, though, when the opponent decides to just push into one of those small armies, because then he'll lose it, and he'll be very far behind in army supply.
That's a lot of Banelings, Delk.
Yeah, a lot of them are getting morphed in, though. It is 95 army supply to 40 at the moment. NuBrGNi going to be able to get a lot of good explosions there. MaSa not even going to be able to pick up a lot of them. A Thor is out for the Mulus, but, you know, it's very close to Zerg territory. It needs a buffer, or else it will go down.
Now, with that 4th base up and running, I mean, NuBrGNi he's actually surpassing right now MaSa in terms of the SCV count. But again, MaSa has mules on his side, and it is the 3 base to the 4. So NuBrGNi is actually staying up with the income. But again, I just really do fear for the larvae counts. You know, if we had a macro hatch, I think we actually do have a macro hatch.
Yeah,
looking at that 3rd, it's going to go a long way just to, again, match the production values that MaSa can pump out, because you see a lot of little armies, and it looks like he's probably losing a lot of these fights, but he always comes back with more numbers. And in fact, look at that supply difference in the top mid. I mean, 30 supply between the 2 of them, even though they're on even worker counts.
Yeah, 113 army supply to 70. It's really showing MaSa with that great ability to reinforce all of his units and have more units prepared. Mulus kind of running right through the missile turrets. 2 going to go down for free. That's not the greatest, but going to be able to get some add-ons, maybe even that tank. And Getting rid of that tank is crucial, as now his Zerglings and Banelings can roll in if he likes to, but the third base's macro hatch has been found as well as the fourth base, and NuBrGNi is going to be taking a lot of damage while giving a lot himself.
So if this actually turns into a base trade scenario, I want to say that MaSa inherently has that advantage because he can just float his buildings off into the corners, and not entirely too sure NuBrGNi could really try to force this out, but it looks like he's actually going to go all in for it.
Yeah, NuBrGNi doesn't really have a lot of other choices at the moment. MaSa's already pushing all the way into the natural. The third, though, is still alive for a little bit longer. You see, the thing is, as I was saying, MaSa has a lot of small armies, not a giant big one. And when it comes time to get that big army ready, he has a lot of trouble doing that. Right now, MaSa, he's looking to take out this natural, but the third just finally going down. But NuBrGNi already in the natural, and as you can look at the minimap, there aren't a lot of blinking things over at NuBrGNi's side of the map.
Not at all. In fact, blue still really heavily outweighs the red at this point. In terms of the supply between the two sides, it's a clear difference. And MaSa, I think, is going to be able to take game number one on this, and it is.
GG from NuBrGNi.
Whew. That was a little dicey there at the end of it. It's just looking like, all right, what kind of engage are we going to see with these bigger armies? But NuBrGNi is just like, well, I'm going to base race the Terran, and we'll maybe not the best decision in it.
When you do go for the Mutiling Baneling, it's just very difficult to get the Mulisks to kill buildings. They're very good at killing units, but not so much killing buildings, as, you know, their hits aren't the strongest on the first hit, and they can't really bounce around from 3 buildings, whereas if you're killing a bunch of Marines, it's very easy to hit 3, go up to 6, 9, and then just exponentially grow from there.
Yeah, if you're looking at, you know, mutas and bounces, sure, fine, you know, six damage or something that gets distributed out, but Marines, tanks, Thors, I mean, they're going to rip right through you, no problem. And even if, like, somehow the mutas were able to just do massive amounts of damage, float, split, buy time. I mean, we had the fourth down, the third was down, the second was about to drop as well, and that means that you're not mining in your main anymore. That means it's basically done because you're not going to have the larvae, you don't have any income, and at that point, I mean, the drones were just dropping like flies as well. I mean, there's a clear 100 supply between the two sides.
Yeah, towards the end there, MaSa just with his superior upgrades as well. He was on 2-2 going on to 3-3, whereas NuBrGNi just only had about +1, I believe. So definitely just not the greatest engagements there for NuBrGNi last game. We are going to be getting game number 2. It is going to be Yeonsu here. Yeonsu is a much better map for MaSa because Reaper's extremely good on this. There are a lot of ledges here. And then also tank play very good on this because of all of the ledges as well, because you can have a tank on the low ground of the 4th base or on the high ground of a 3rd base and then just shoot right onto the mineral lines and kill workers easily.
Well, that's not going to be good news for NuBrGNi because he needs to pull out a win if he does not want to get rolled into the third place match, because MaSa up 1-0 on a map that favors MaSa. That's, I mean, if I was a betting man, I think I know where I'd put my money.
Yeah, you know, most people here in Toronto, they do tend to bet for the MaSa.
He is the favorite. He's the king of the North. He's our top seed, and I mean, it's just daunting. Like a lot of StarCraft is, you know, being in a good mindset, because if you're in a good mindset, you're going to be able to perform extremely well. And as you can see there with the points, I mean, MaSa 300. Basically, it was just straight wins, all 5 cups.
And that's actually 400 because he did also win TorCraft May, so that put him up to 4 cups won, each giving 100 points. So just really,
I don't know. Math is hard. 75 points each? No, that wouldn't make 400. No. 5, 4, 80? Yeah.
Anyways, we're getting into game number 2. It's going to be on Yeonsu. TVZ. Not the last. If